The economy of Bayelsa State is set to carve a niche for itself in Africa, thanks to the giant strides taken in that direction by the state government. With Governor HSDickson's donation to the Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Trust Fund, the future is bright for entrepreneurs in Bayelsa State. Plus, a new dawn has broken in the education sector of the state. Join me for the gist of these stories. I'm Taribio Wilson Owei-Fawari. This is Restoration Chronicles.
The global economic meltdown has necessitated a new thinking by governments, financial and other institutions to evolve strategies and means of tackling the challenges thrown up by this phenomenon.
We're setting up the Bayelsa Business Council, and I've given the challenge to the leaders of various businesses in Bayelsa to put themselves together, and I've told them they have the support of the government to put themselves together to see how businessmen and women in this state first get to know about the opportunities here and then get involved in it.
While some governments have adopted the American-style stimulus of injecting huge amounts of extra budgetary funds into their ailing economies to jumpstart them, others have adopted the Spanish-style austerity that has contracted their economies, dried up funds to critical sectors, leading to the collapse of industries and businesses and huge job losses. Amid the chaos, some valuable lessons have been learned and proactive steps being taken to ward off this evil omen that threatens the peace and prosperity of the world.
In the new Bayelsa we are creating, we are looking at our economic development for the future.
As an astute and proactive administrator, Governor HSDickson of Bayelsa State, long realizing the need, has taken giant steps towards diversifying the state's economy from oil and gas to agriculture, hospitality and tourism.
When we in Bayelsa are talking about expanding the base of our economy by investing in agriculture, by exploring more opportunities in tourism and tourism development, and using these as a basis for generating and building a new economy, creating jobs and so on.
With the establishment of the Bayelsa Development and Investment Corporation BDIC, the stage is set for the transformation of the state to one of the top 5 economies in Africa by 2020.
We have been told of the importance of SMEs, and there's no doubt that SMEs are actually the engine of economic growth. Their contribution is very well known. They increase economic production, they generate employment opportunities, and create wealth among our people. They also serve as a catalyst for industrial.
SMMEs are good drivers for any economy and economic growth, especially in the developing world. This is more so is to implement government's small business strategy, to design and implement a standard and common national delivery network for small enterprise development. It is also to integrate government-funded small enterprise support agencies across all tiers of government.
What is going on in this state is a revolution, and we want to be part of it. We want it to spread around the whole of Nigeria. But we're doing it in a different way this time around. We're inviting some businesses in Bayelsa State to visit the UK. These businesses are mainly small-scale businesses. They will interact with Nigerian diasporas that live in the UK, and they will, the investors in the UK will contribute into their businesses. So we will form partnerships.
In Bayelsa State, we have over 400 people that are engaged in small-scale businesses. This is like a quarter of the population of this state. but most of them still practice their businesses in a crude way. Most of them are not organized. Most of them don't have access to finance. Most of them do not see the value of purchasing what we call business development support. These are the gaps that we are coming to the state to fill.
There is urgent need to focus on increasing the productivity of our people through aggressive development of the small and medium enterprises subsector. The economic model. This is the SME mentoring scheme, which is an integral part of the strategic roadmap designed to entrench prosperity in Bayelsa State.
As a catalyst of the 19th century industrial revolution that catapulted the West to the industrial and economic dominance it enjoys today, SMEs possess the required ingredients to groom our fledgling entrepreneurs into private sector players who would ensure the development of the sector, create new jobs, as well as entrench prosperity.
We must strive to be as independent as we can be in terms of at least being able to sustain and meet our basic needs within the state. Now, for that to happen, we must invest in SME development.
The governor also realizes that for economic development to be optimal, there is need to empower the people through the development of the small and medium enterprises SMEs subsector.
To underscore our seriousness to this, we have a donation. We'll kickstart it with our own donation. On behalf of the government of Bayelsa State, the initial donation of the sum of 250 million naira to the SME Development Trust Fund, the roadmap for SMEs development in Bayelsa State.
Under the administration of His Excellency Honorable HSDickson, the Bayelsa State government is currently implementing a proactive economic policy approach that takes into cognizance that for our economic development to be optimal, there is an urgent need to focus on increasing the productivity of our people through aggressive development of small and medium-scale enterprises, SMEs subsector. This policy thrust has crystallized into the SME mentoring scheme, which is an integral part of the strategic roadmap designed to approach prosperity in Bayelsa State. It is an economic framework whose goals are aimed at fast-tracking the rapid development of our private sector through the growth of entrepreneurs in the state from its current low status to a first-world status by deliberately grooming a critical mass of the best indigenous SMEs in Bayelsa State. The HSDickson-led administration has conducted a needs assessment survey and identified 8 thrust sectors in which the state has comparative economic advantage. The mentoring scheme is tailored to groom 200 SMEs. In the first instance, in the identified thrust sectors so that they could trigger the launch of 8 private sector-led industrial clusters, 1 in each local government area in Bayelsa State. They are Bayelsa State Capital City, the Financial City, Bayelsa Agricultural Cluster City, Bayelsa Oil and Gas Cluster City, Bayelsa Technology Cluster City, Bayelsa Industrial Cluster City, Bayelsa Tourist Cluster City, Bayelsa Textile Cluster City, Bayelsa Marine Cluster City. The government economic policy is that this concept would open up the state to aggressive private investment and rapidly entrench prosperity across our local government areas and act as a model for other states across Nigeria and indeed Africa. A typical economic cluster will be set up by the state in each local government area, and the groomed mentees, after completing their 12 to 14 months mentoring scheme, are expected to leverage on the Business Incubation Center in each cluster. The Business Incubation Center is to be constructed from the 10 billion naira fund to be raised at the SME Summit. while the government funds the infrastructural development for the industrial cluster and provide business incentives for further private sector investment so as to achieve a phased expansion for each cluster. There is also an urgent need to send a bill to the Bayelsa State House of Assembly for the creation of Bayelsa State SME Agency. This agency shall have a board of trustees drawn mainly from the private sector, especially the mentors that have donated to the SME Development Fund, which reports directly to the office of the governor. This agency removes the hindrances and the bureaucracies that cripple the SME access to finance and entrepreneurial development in Bayelsa State in the past. It also works with relevant international and federal agencies to increase greater access to SME finance and growth. The corporate mentors, of whom we are starting with a total of 20, are expected to groom the SMEs under their wings along the SME sectoral niches. The government will ensure a seamless match between mentors and mentee so that both are operating in same or similar sectors or industry. This flexible 12 to 14 months mentoring scheme involves a mixture of business relationship building, apprenticeship, managerial, capacity building, advisory services, networking, exposure to required SME toolkits, exposure of the SME mentees to the realities of the marketplace, fine-tuning of business skills, etc. This would help the SME mentees to develop the critical sets of business competence required to withstand the rigors of the marketplace in which they would combat. A total sum of 10 billion naira is needed through the collective contributions of the corporate mentors to be overseen by a board of trustees made up of private mentors. The fund is for the establishment and the operation of the SME incubation centers in each local government area to grow other component SME in the trust sector, and as a counterpart private funding for the setting up of microfinance bank in each local government area in order to increase finance for marketable SME cluster ideas. Indeed, this novel initiative is designed to positively engage our people to drive out poverty from the land. So let us all join hands in playing an indispensable role of transforming and sustaining the citizens of Bayelsa State into a dynamic, productive people able to thrive in an ever-competitive and dynamic society. And in the words of our amiable governor, His Excellency Honorable Henry HSDickson, the new Bayelsa that we all crave for, the new Bayelsa that we actually deserve, that new Bayelsa can only be founded on prosperity and security. Government is building roads and bridges, schools and so on. But in vain we do all this if these activities do not translate to economic prosperity and opportunities for our people.
In the southern region of Nigeria, there is a land that has one of the most productive ecosystems in the world. Occupying part of the mangrove and tropical rainforest that characterizes the south, this land has the highest rainfall in Nigeria and the largest coastline with the Atlantic Ocean. There are natural resources in abundance, and the land and climate support the cultivation of both food and cash crops. But the land is probably most famous for being the place where oil was first struck in commercial quantities for production in Nigeria in 1956. This land is Bayelsa State, and it is open for business. In fulfillment of Governor Dickson's vision of diversifying the state's economy beyond oil and gas, coupled with its drive to stimulate private sector participation and the need to attract capital, both local and foreign, the Bayelsa State government has formally constituted the Advisory Council, Board and Management of the Bayelsa State Development and Investment Corporation, BDIC. Bayelsa State the place where oil was first discovered in commercial quantity, is taking this initiative at this time to plan and evolve alternative sources to bolster the economy and ensure the steady and rapid development of the state in all ramifications.
We have decided to also procure free uniforms, free books, free shoes, free bags, that range, cost millions, hundreds of millions of naira to be distributed to our children today. So today is a flag off of the distribution of our free education elements for the state.
When, upon assumption of office on 14 February 2012, Governor HSDickson declared a state of emergency in the troubled education sector in the state, few people could appreciate the scope of that declaration or the financial outlay it would require. After just 14 months in the saddle, however, it has become increasingly clear to observers that the governor has both the passion and the will to turn around the fortunes of that critical sector with his free and compulsory education policy.
Since inception, the present administration has done everything to revamp the comatose education sector and fight headlong the widespread decay in the system. In line with the restoration agenda, this government has embarked on aggressive reconstruction of over 200 dilapidated public primary and secondary schools, buildings across the state. These model structures, when completed, will provide for ICT, library, laboratory for sciences, and toilet facilities. In addition to this, over 200 bedroom flats with an extra 4 rooms attached to each of them to accommodate youth corpers and other science teachers that might be posted to the various schools from time to time. Presently, under the directive of His Excellency, the ministry engineers have gone out to the nooks and crannies of the state to bring drawings and bills of all remaining dilapidated structures with a clear directive that by September 2012, which is this year, the situation will change as every school will have a new law.
From constructing new structures to expanding existing ones and remodeling others where necessary, Honorable HSDickson has been unrelenting in his frontal attack against the rot in the education system in the state. Other areas covered by the declaration are secondary, undergraduate and postgraduate scholarships to deserving Bayelsans, beefing up of teaching staff in secondary schools, and provision of school buses to convey students to and from school free of charge.
Education for us is an instrument of change, an instrument of promoting development, prosperity, and security. Education is the means by which we can not only bring about a better and more prosperous tomorrow, but it's the only way by which we can guarantee and safeguard it.
In furtherance of its avowed commitment to improving the standard of education in the state government recently commenced the distribution of free uniforms, textbooks and other materials worth 776 million naira to primary and secondary pupils in the state, awarded a 500 million naira contract for supply of additional textbooks to secondary schools, and approved 50 million naira to local government areas for the provision of school uniforms.
We said we're going to make schools very efficient. We're going to build the school infrastructure, which was comatose. But we know that merely building beautiful school buildings is not all it takes to achieve our goal. We are addressing the provision of teaching aids. We are providing free facilities.
He declared a state of emergency on the educational sector, and giving out of educational materials is one aspect of it. So today is a very happy day, very great day. We give honor to God, but we thank His Excellency for keeping His word.
Education means when you learn, the more you learn, the more you know. And to the teachers, I think with the effective supervision that is going on in the local government areas, there is a change. Teachers are now responding, going to school. They write their notes of lessons, prepare very well before they enter the classes.
I tell you, this is the first of its kind in Bayelsa State. The governor declared a state of emergency in the educational sector. And we can rightly state that he's seriously working towards that, to achieving that goal. To give out free books, uniforms, sandals, and all that is never a joke. It's first of its kind in Bayelsa State, and I think that I can categorically say it's first of its kind in the South-South zone I've ever seen. And so it's actually a welcome development.
It's laudable. This is something we've been praying for. We thank God for our visionary governor, and we thank God for, the entire procedure. It went well. So we are so much elated, and we know that if this continues, other states will be learning from us.
Indeed, I'm very grateful and I'm very happy as a student. I mean, we used to think this thing the governor was saying were all lies, but it has come and it has happened to be a reality, and we are very grateful to the governor. We are very happy. As you can see, the students are all happy, and we are praying that he continues this.
I feel very excited to be among the students that came to today program, the flag off ceremony for the free education materials. Today, His Excellency has kept to his promise and has presented live to the children the free materials that he promised on its inception in February 14. I'm so delighted to see it happen live and real.
Well, it was okay. At least we now know that the governor, like he said to us, there is a state of emergency on the educational sector. It's not just like word of mouth. At least we've all come to see that he's not joking. He says it and he does it. So this is a practical example, and we've seen that he's going to really take Bayelsa to the next level.
These are the elements of free education. Are the children given books, textbooks? Are they having a school uniform? Even including school feeding. We are also working towards that. Between now and September, or thereabouts, we are going to introduce school feeding even in our primary schools.
Honestly, I'm very proud of coming to Bayelsa. I was asked not to come, so many people intimidating that it is very unskilled. But when we come, we discover that there are difference between the perception and the reality. So there is no problem, there is no cause for alarm, and we enjoy it, and we continue to be a partner in progress.
In the southern region of Nigeria, there is a land that has one of the most productive ecosystems in the world. Occupying part of the mangrove and tropical rainforest that characterizes the south, this land has the highest rainfall in Nigeria and the largest coastline with the Atlantic Ocean. There are natural resources in abundance, and the land and climate support the cultivation of both food and cash crops. But the land is probably most famous for being the place where oil was first struck in commercial quantities for production in Nigeria in 1956. This land is Bayelsa State, and it is open for business. In fulfillment of Governor Dickson's vision of diversifying the state's economy beyond oil and gas, coupled with its drive to stimulate private sector participation and the need to attract capital, both local and foreign, the Bayelsa State government has formally constituted the Advisory Council, Board and Management of the Bayelsa State Development and Investment Corporation, BDIC. Bayelsa State, the place where oil was first discovered in commercial quantity, is taking this initiative at this time to plan and evolve alternative sources to bolster the economy and ensure the steady and rapid development of the state in all ramifications.
There seems no end to the pleasant surprises in the kitty of Governor HSDickson. Just when you think he's taking a rest, he springs another one. This is the hallmark of one who came well prepared to put a new song on the lips of Bayelsans. I'm Taribio Wilson Oweyfawari. Join me again next week, same time, same station. I'll leave you with clips from the May Day Workers' Celebration. Ado, Onoa, Aloha, Mbana.
Labour has been a partner in progress. Labour has played its key role not only to the workers, but also to the executive in ensuring that whatever little achievement we have recorded, we share the glory.
Yes, sir,
Ladies and gentlemen, let's let everybody know that the other ones are coming. Nigerian Labour Congress State Cement Committee